Guys, today is Thursday, July 14th, 2016. I haven't posted a video in a really long time, but I saw I got one thumbs up, which means someone out there watched it and it helped them, so I'm doing another one. Today I'm doing a video on Lyme disease symptoms. And I've been keeping a little list of all my symptoms here. And I want to start off by saying that Lyme disease, I'm not sure if you know, is known as the great imitator. So it can look like a lot of different things. So if I'm naming symptoms that you don't have, it doesn't mean you don't have Lyme disease, and vice versa. It's just, it can present itself in so many different ways, but this is how it presented with me. I'm not going to speak for other symptoms that I know there are that I didn't experience. I'm just going to tell you what I went through. I do want to share some encouragement. I've been at this for about a year doing treatments, and I had a really great month, I would say. Definitely not 100%, but definitely a lot better, and the quality of life has it went way up. Kind of has come back down a little bit, but it hasn't gone as far down as it was. And there was actually a moment where, I feel silly saying this, but I feel like you guys understand what I mean when I say I was doing laundry and I went out, I went to church and I did laundry, and I came home and I didn't change straight into my pajamas, but I stayed in my daytime clothes, and my husband was working, and he was working from home, and I was able to just kind of hang out in the room and chat with him, which is something that would never happen. If I would have gone to church, I would have instantly gone home, had to have my husband change me into my pajamas, and rest on the couch for the entire night. So anyway, it was a huge deal. I got up, I made my own food, I made my own dinner, and I was just sitting there, and all of a sudden I was standing there, and it all hit me at once, that I felt like an adult again, and I felt like I was taking care of myself for the first time in a really long time, which is, as you know, huge. So I'm holding on to that moment as a reminder that it can happen. You can get better. I know sometimes I felt so far gone, so sick, that it didn't seem possible that I could feel better. And so that was just a huge victory for me. Sorry, I'm getting emotional about it. It was just a big victory. And the craziest part is, even in that moment, the whole story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, when they were thrown into the furnace, and if you know the story, at the end it comes out that they didn't even smell like smoke because they walked through this thing, but God protected them so much that when they came out, they didn't even smell like smoke. And that's something I kind of held on to. That's something throughout this thing is, okay, God, I don't even want to smell like smoke at the end of this. And I thought, my life would just be forever changed, which it will be. But when I had that moment, I was like, you know what? Like, that didn't even feel hard. Like, the whole thing, the whole 8 years didn't even feel that hard. And I felt like, I could have handled a little more. It was wild. It was the craziest thing because, it's been the hardest thing, hands down, in my life. But I really felt like, hey, that was that. Now I'm done. And obviously I've kind of slipped back a little bit, but I'm just holding on to that, and I'm holding on to that feeling, and I know it will come back, and I know that I won't even smell like smoke. And I just really encourage you guys to believe that too, and hope for that. And Um, just set your eyes on that. So that's a little encouragement before I start talking about Lyme disease symptoms, which is always fun. So I'm just going to talk about some things that I noticed. I find it interesting when I hear people talk about their symptoms. It's kind of interesting because they'll say something and I'm like, oh yeah, that happens to me too, but I didn't realize that was a Lyme thing. So I think it's kind of a good thing to share your symptoms so you can go, oh, that's a Lyme thing, or it's kind of interesting to me. So I wanted to just share it with you guys so you can relate and just build a community. So one thing, this is in no particular order, I just wrote them down as I thought of them, but double vision. I noticed that when I got really tired or when I was worn out from if I worked that day, and I only work a part-time job, that's 10 to 4, so, but that was, all I could take. And so if I worked a part-time job and came home, definitely, I thought for a while my prescription had changed because just my vision was so blurry and I was holding things out like I needed reading glasses, which I'm not really old enough to be needing reading glasses, and reading things on the TV. It was just really blurry, and I just felt like my prescription was getting worse. But then I realized as I was feeling rested, or as I was doing better, that that's not always the case. And so now I can kind of see when I'm real worn out, because I'll have that little double vision. I don't know if you guys have that or not, but one thing when I was in the thick of it, and it even happens now and then still, but I'm a chatty girl. I'm very talkative. I'm just, I love to talk. So there were so many times I remember sitting there and just hearing people have a conversation and, being involved in the conversation and wanting to say something or wanting to start a new story or tell them something that happened to me that day, and just being too tired to. Like, it was just, it's not even worth it to tell that story. I can't even muster up the strength to tell that story. I can't even muster up this strength to put in my 2 cents and tell them what I think about that. So that was something that was really hard for me because it felt like this disease, and at that point I didn't even know what I had. It felt like it was taking a part of me, a part of my personality. I talk a lot, and I'm very passionate about things, and it silenced me. I mean, it flat out silenced me because I was just like, oh, you know what? Like, it's just too hard. I'm just gonna sit here and listen, and I won't share that with them, which is just really sad and not fun. So I mean, it really silenced me. So that's another thing. I don't know how this is for you guys, but I felt it. I was just unable to maintain relationships, to maintain friendships. There was just like, no way in the world that I could think about just calling someone up to talk to them or just doing anything to go out to dinner with someone was like out of the question. It was just really difficult, and I lost a lot of friendships, and it was just really, really hard. I was too tired to send a text message, and it sounds ridiculous, but I think you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Like, to pick up my phone and send a text to someone, and God forbid they texted me back and I had to have a conversation, it was too much. I would get too tired. It was just out of the question. It wasn't even like in my realm of thought. And if someone texted me, it was just like, oh no, like I have to text them back, and I don't want them to ask how I'm feeling, and the whole thing. So that was really hard too. And I mean, I'm just to the point where I'm like, I mean, even my sister, who I'm really close with, I have 4 nephews that I love, and I want to know what they're doing every second of the day. but I wasn't texting her. I mean, I wasn't texting her very much at all, just because I couldn't. And um, and that's another way that it's just a horrible, horrible disease. Um, so yeah, that's one thing, is just unable to kind of maintain and keep relationships. Um, so one of the hallmark things, I think, is the achy joints. One of the hallmark symptoms of Lyme. Well, I didn't know I had Lyme. I read about Lyme and I was like, yeah, that's not me. I don't have it. Um, Once I got diagnosed, though, I was like, oh, that's a Lyme symptom. That's a Lyme symptom. That's a Lyme symptom. And one of them is, uh, I would always tell my husband, no, 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 you don't understand. I am so tired. I ache. Like, I'm so tired that my bones just started hurting because I'm tired. Now I know, well, that's joint pain because it's Lyme disease, and that kind of goes hand in hand. Um, so sometimes things aren't as obvious as you would think. Like, I was constantly I can't say that word. I was constant. Oh my gosh, that's funny. I was constantly aware of my body and looking for symptoms, looking for clues, looking for hints, looking for anything that would tell me what was wrong with me. And even when I was doing that, I was still missing things like achy joints. I told my doctor about it once, and he put me on vitamin D. And I told him, I think when I drink water, it feels it gets better. And he's like, okay, then you're fine. Well, it turns out now I had Lyme disease, so let's be a little more cautious when we tell people they're fine. But that is a tip. I do feel like drinking a lot of water. It doesn't make it completely go away, but I feel like my joints feel better when I drink more water. This is obvious, but just being exhausted when you wake up. You start the day and you're exhausted and you don't know how you're going to make it through the day. There were so many times when I was crying on my way to work going, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to make it through this day. I remember just calling my mom, sobbing in the car, saying, I can't do this. I can't go to work today, but I have to. I have to go to work. I can't keep calling in sick, and I don't think I can make it. And then wiping off my tears and walking in there, pretending like nothing ever happened, because for me, it's something I kept secret, and I still kind of do. So, yeah, that's another one. This is one that I noticed. I mean, if you're really bad, you're probably going to be like, oh, that's a nice symptom to have because I can barely walk. But one thing I noticed is if I'm with someone who, well, even if they did know I had Lyme disease, let's say we're walking in the grocery store together or we're walking to the car together, their pace is always a little bit faster than mine. And that's something that's kind of hard to swallow. Like, oh, okay, I don't walk like a normal person walks. Like I walk slower than, I felt like a grandmother. Like, I just walk slower, and I have to ask people to slow down, or if they don't know, or I'm not comfortable enough with them, I have to walk really fast and try to hide that I'm out of breath and go through all of that. So that's one. Confusion, brain fog. I mean, that's I think another hallmark symptom. But the person I'm working with right now told me that people with Lyme disease tend to have more alkaline in their body, and that's what causes brain fog. So that's something kind of interesting. I don't know if that's interesting to you, but I thought I'd share it. Brain fog, where, I mean, you might see it in this video because I'm having a little bit today, but where you just can't talk. You forgot what you're saying. A lot of times in conversation, all of a sudden I'm really confused, or watching a really simple sitcom and the plot and storyline is confusing me. Just your brain isn't working like it's supposed to. It's foggy. And a lot of times, like, I just forget what I'm saying in the middle of a sentence, and then that's that. So, brain fog, I'm trying to think of what else, because I think a lot of things happen with brain fog. Um, like, I remember once at work meeting with some reps and not really, like, being able to talk and not being able to form a proper sentence. And it was because I was doing so bad, but I would play it off like, I can't talk today, sorry. Because for me that was easier. And I don't know what's wrong with me. I just can't talk today. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but I remember like a really hard days when they were like, "Yeah, we were noticing you must be having an off day, and we noticed you couldn't really, And that was like, oh my gosh, I thought I was pulling this off. I thought I was hiding that I had Lyme. I thought like no one knew what was going on, and hearing someone go, "Oh yeah, what's up with that?" Was hard, but I think that was probably like the worst of it because I don't know. I think we all kind of learn how to maneuver around our symptoms and hide them, and um, especially if you're not telling people, um, or if you are and you just don't want to have to excuse every single symptom you're going through. I know I've got pretty good at just like maneuvering around things and hiding things and blowing things off. And I've become a master at changing the subject. I am so good at changing subjects now because I can see when a conversation is going to a certain way when they're going to ask, why are you part-time and and you don't have a kid? Like, why are you just working part-time? What's up with that? Or, what do you do on your days off anyway? Like, I'm resting, and that's it. I'm recovering from these 3 days that are torture for me. I can't say that. So I've become really good at changing the subject. I don't know if that happened for you. Then I also had written down just trouble following thoughts, trouble following conversations. Just, that's part of the brain fog, the confusion, not understanding what people are saying. One thing I learned, this was one that I had, but I didn't know it was a Lyme thing or really what was going on until I read that light sensitivity can be a big thing. I'd be laying on my couch with the windows open, and I would just be like, can you just please shut the blinds? Just shut the blinds. That was a big thing. I just always wanted the blinds shut, and it was like it's like it's hurting me. Like I feel like the light is hurting me, and I can't explain it other than that. But it's just light sensitivity. So it's like it feels like you're overstimulated, and it's just too much coming out you. I felt like I couldn't rest. I just felt like I needed the blinds closed, and then it was like, oh, that feels so much better. So that's something to look out for, or I don't know if you're going through it. Sound sensitivity, just sensitivity to kind of like all your senses. I mean, music, like I'm a huge lover of music. I love to listen to everything. But since I've been sick, it's since I've known my husband, and my husband basically thinks all I listen to is easy listening because that's all I can listen to right now. Like I can only listen to really like simple, mellow music. I can't listen to anything too upbeat, anything too complex because I'm like, it hurts. I'm like, turn it off, ow, loud, woo. Like it's too much. So I'm just like, I'm really sensitive to sound and music in particular. It really just like drains me, which is not my personality or character at all. Like I love music, and usually it energizes me. And going through Lyme, it drains me, and it's really hard to. And my husband will want to show me a song, and I'll be like, I just can't listen to that right now. It's just too much. I feel like I sound like a crazy person because I know most people think I'm crazy, but hopefully you guys are getting what I'm talking about. Especially with my husband, it's kind of goes with the music and everything, but I hate this. I hate this. But if my husband's like hyper or in a really good mood, I'll have to be like, honey, I'm so sorry, but can you just take your energy down a level? Because it's draining me. Like, if he has a lot of energy and I'm exhausted, it's like so hard to be around. It's the strangest thing. It's hard to explain. I'm like, your energy's just too much. And I feel horrible saying that. Like, I feel like I'm a horrible person. But it is. It's just too much. And if there's a lot of hype or a lot of energy going on, it's a lot for me. So in the thick of it, just like some examples of what I went through, my main thing was fatigue. That was my number one. I could handle everything else I'm going through. Get rid of my fatigue. That's what I would tell doctors. Like, I can handle all of this. It's fine. Just get rid of my fatigue, because it was that bad. So some examples of how bad my fatigue was. I hope this isn't hard for me to talk about, but if I got home from a work day, like, we live in a condo, and there's a flight of stairs, right? Like, you have to take a flight of stairs to get into our condo. And so I would call my husband when I got into the parking lot and said, hey, I'm here. And I would need him to pick up all my stuff, like my purse and my lunch, and need him to basically carry me up the stairs. I didn't want people to see that, so, like, we came up with discreet ways of doing it, but, like, I would have to throw my arm around him, and he would basically carry all my weight for me as I went up the stairs, just because I couldn't do it. I, like, simply could not walk up the stairs. He would have to, I kid you not, he would have to carry me to the bathroom. Like, I would be on the couch and say, I have to go to the bathroom, and he would have to pick me up and carry me to the bathroom, because I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And I know some people are like, hey, you could have stood up and gone to the bathroom. No, I couldn't. Like, I really couldn't do it. One of the, like, hallmark, or one of the most vivid kind of memories I have is my husband finding me in our kitchen, sitting on the floor, sobbing, because I couldn't walk into our living room to lay down on the couch. Like, I was in the kitchen, and the couch looked so far to me that I couldn't get there. And we live, I mean, I don't know if you can see it. I'm on the couch. That's the kitchen. So you can see the steps, like 10 steps maybe, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I was there for like 10 minutes, and then he found me, and he had to pick me up and carry me. It's so hard. It's so hard, because especially if you are someone who likes their independence, or who likes to be, and I think that's something God's taught me, is that I don't need to be too independent. He's, shown me that can be dangerous too, being too independent. But, being completely reliant on someone else when you are so used to being an independent person. I was living by myself by the time I was 18. I was, I liked to take care of myself. I liked to do things my way, and having someone carry me around is pretty much the opposite of that. So that was really, really hard, and that also felt like I was losing a piece of myself. When I got home from work, my husband would have to change my clothes for me. It got that bad. He would have to take my clothes off for me and put my pajamas on for me, because I didn't have the strength to do it. I mean, working took more than all I had out of me. And so the rest was recovery. When I was off, it was all about recovery. And it was, so he had to dress me like I was a child. And, he was so loving about it, but it's such a embarrassing thing, like not even being able to clothe yourself. It's like a basic thing that everyone can do, and I couldn't do it, and that was really hard. Um, sorry, getting emotional. Okay, so we're pretty much done. Another moment was he found me. I was like, you know what? No, I'm good. I can change myself today. That sounds so ridiculous, but I got home from work and I was like, no, you know what? I'm gonna take a bath and I can change myself and I'll be fine. And so he must have heard me get out of the bath, and then I never came out of the bedroom. So, he went to find me, and I was like, I was just laying on the um, closet floor. I was just like, I'm done. Like, this is it. Like, I can't move now. It wasn't that funny at the time, but I was just like, and that's all I can do. I couldn't yell for him to come help me. I was too tired to yell for him. I was too tired to do anything but lay there. I couldn't muster the strength to do any of it. And I was like, well, I'm just going to have to sit here and wait until he notices that I'm not out there, and, then he can help me. So yeah, I mean, to me, that's pretty intense. To me, that's pretty bad. I'm sorry this video is so long, but hello, it's Lyme. I mean, I probably could tell you 100 more symptoms, but that's symptoms I'll tell you for now. So for me, it was fatigue. One little thought I'll leave you with is everyone would say, you couldn't do that. Like, you couldn't just get up and walk to the couch. And like, at that point, no, I couldn't. Like, no, it was, and people don't understand that. But also there are times when people are like, come on, just do this one thing. Can't you do that? Like, can't you just do this one thing? And for me, like, the best way to explain to people that don't have Lyme is, like, if you have a really bad cold or the flu even, like, you're really sick. Like, you can be really sick. Like, say you have the flu. If you had to, yes, you could probably stand up and go to the bathroom, like, if you had to. But, or if you had to and you had a really bad cold, could you go to dinner? Yeah. Would you be miserable? Yes. Would it be healing for your body, or would you be making yourself more sick? Because that's basically how I felt. I felt like I could do that. I'm going to be miserable doing it, and it's going to wear me out. I'm going to pay for it for days. No, weeks. In the thick of it, I would have paid for it for weeks. Like, if I went out to dinner with someone, would have been miserable, would have paid for it for weeks, and it would not have been a healing thing. It would run my body down more. So those are the symptoms that I dealt with. I know for me it's really good to hear when people have the same symptoms. I hope it's encouraging for you, not discouraging. And I want you to know that I am getting better, and I might do a video that's shorter about just what does it look like getting better, because it's not obvious, and it's not something that happens overnight, and it's definitely something that's not linear, that goes up and down. I mean, it does go up and down, the healing, but I see it in very, very little things. Like, oh wait, I used to not be able to do that myself. I'm doing that now. One thing I noticed, I asked my husband, am I sitting up on the couch more than usual? And he was like, oh yeah, you never sat on the couch. You always laid. You always were laying on the couch. And now I'm sitting up on the couch more. And so, small victories, I know that sounds like, oh, how pathetic. Like, that's something you're happy about. But, it's a snowball effect, one thing after another, and we're just crushing it slowly but surely, and just knocking one thing out at a time, and hopefully getting rid of this thing. Not hopefully, we will. In the name of Jesus, we will get rid of this. So don't be discouraged when you get better and then you feel worse. Don't be discouraged if you don't feel like you're making that much progress. I'll make a video on that, because that's kind of a whole different thing. One more thing, huge thing, I cannot believe I forgot, this probably needs to be a separate video. Anxiety, depression, never dealt with anxiety, never had an anxiety attack in my life. It became a thing I needed medication for. The anxiety got so bad. And I don't know if that's just from being sick that long and not having control of your body, it causes anxiety, or if actual Lyme disease causes the anxiety. But huge thing. I'm trying to think if I should share something. I don't think I should, because I think it'd be discouraging. Yeah, so anxiety is a huge thing, and you're not going crazy. Like, you're not going crazy. This is a horrible thing we're going through, and anxiety, if it happens, that makes sense to me. Like, it's hard. So be easy on yourself, be loving to yourself. Don't feel shame about your symptoms. Don't let people shame you about your symptoms. That is a huge piece I'm working on and have not mastered yet. But know your body, love your body, respect it, care for it. So that's my video for now, and I'm sorry it was so long, and I'll try to make them shorter, but I hope it helps, and that's all. Okay, bye.